Welcome to Deep Thought. Increasing your knowledge is easy. Increasing your knowledge. Now, I'm always talking about thinking, but what are you going to be thinking about? How to solve a problem, usually, how to make it through life. Now, you would need tools to do that. And not just to merely think. Everybody's doing that anyway. But if you wanted to solve a problem, the more knowledge you have about that problem, the better. Now, knowledge itself is easy to accumulate, especially in this day and age. I'm going to tell you what, most of my knowledge that I got through in life didn't come in school. Got some knowledge there, I'm going to be real. But a lot of times, there's been a lot of places, I was looking back, I was like, I didn't really learn anything there. I remember my earliest acquisition of knowledge, formal knowledge, was the encyclopedias that my grandmother would buy me. And also she bought, it was like some children's books based on the Bible. So she bought that as well. And I could read at a young age, I could read at a high level. Like when I was in the 6th grade, my reading level was tested on a graduate school level. So, yeah, smart kid. But I had a thirst and a love of just getting knowledge, just knowing things. And you know what? One of the things I saw is increasing your knowledge is easy. So in a formal way, in this day and age, Google is your friend. And there's many a time when I'm just sitting around thinking about something, I'll just Google it. And you got a whole websites and everything, Before, there was a few years ago on IG, I talked about having a library card, and I put a challenge out to everybody to show out their library card. I had a few people who did it. But think about it, you have a large library, you can go in for free and get knowledge. I knew this guy, and he had a business, and he had to do his own taxes for the business. He literally just went to a library and got a book. He was that smart. He didn't go to a CPA or something, which most people would have with a business, but he just went and got the books on it and read it that night. See, it's easy to acquire formal knowledge. Easy. It's acquiring it is very easy. As long as you know how to read. In fact, I remember this guy in college. We were at a retreat. And, we had to exercise. Everybody was talking about their skills. And our best skills and, our least effective skills, rather, or what we didn't have. And he specifically said, I can read. And, at first it sounded like he's being smart or something, but then I thought about it afterwards. I said, you know what? Reading is very important. He can always learn what he needs formally. And you know what? That's one type of knowledge. That's just one type of knowledge. Often on my men's channel, I talk about knowledge experience. Every single experience is knowledge. When I talk about on that channel, when I talk about like interacting with women, getting women, I speak only from experience. There's very little I've read in a book. In fact, with books, the most I would find is stuff to confirm what I've been saying anyway. I can't point to any books and say I learned something new. A lot of people can't relate to that, but everything is experience. And then books are just confirmed. And really, books are really just the writer's experience. So they just sharing it. But knowledge, every single time you interact with a person, you learning something. Like I've told men, every single time you interact with a woman, learn from it. Rejection, acceptance, whatever. Learn from it. And then apply the knowledge. See, one thing with life, but before I get into applying the knowledge, it's just one thing. You learning something every time. You learning something listening to me, whether you agree, disagree, whatever. You learning something. There's stuff I learn when I'm watching channels or I peruse a channel and I don't agree with anything the speaker says. But I'm learning a perspective. You're learning how someone else sees something. That's knowledge. And we're always acquiring knowledge one way or the other. So it's easy. You're doing it anyway. Now, but see, you take all of that to applying the knowledge. See, that's the key. Because you can always learn something. If you can read, if you can listen, you can learn something. If you just take note of your experiences, you can learn something. And you can always learn about yourself if you really pay attention. But then when you have all of this knowledge, it's important that you do something with it. Now, a cliche saying is knowledge is power. I would say a more correct way of saying it is knowledge is power, is applied power. You have to apply it. What good is knowing something if you don't use it? Let me use the favorite example, since my men's channel is the biggest. What good is knowing about a woman's nature if you don't apply it? That's one criticism I have of many channels that's claimed to know about a woman's nature. Well, if you know about a woman's nature, you should know good and bad. And how are you applying that to get the relationships you want with women? You have to apply it. Else stay out of trouble with women. You have to apply it. That's a key thing. That's a key thing to do, to understand. And it's easy. It's easy. Like, you always are learning. And a statement I've used several times: I don't know everything, because I cannot explain quantum physics in Mandarin, you know? Or let me add to that, I can't explain quantum physics in Mandarin to a group of kindergartners in Indonesia. That's a lot of stuff. They don't necessarily speak Mandarin, and you know, most children can't handle quantum physics. But how would I explain that? That's knowledge too. So that means, you know, how do I explain some complicated stuff to like some young children in a different language that they don't even speak? And somebody say that's impossible. Is it? You can use pictures. I'm just saying. But I would have to develop that knowledge of how to do it. I would have to learn how to do it. So there's always something. You know, I haven't visited every single country on the planet. There's something to learn about culture. There's always something to learn. You know? Because the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. But it's easy to acquire. I can study quantum physics. I can study Mandarin, you know? I can study methods to communicating something to someone in a different language or to younger people. There's knowledge out there of virtually everything. And if it's not, you can develop knowledge. That's another video. But increasing your knowledge is easy. You just have to want to do it. You're doing it anyway. You just have to learn how to apply it. So it's easy though. It's the easiest thing to acquire knowledge, to increase your knowledge. So I want y'all to think about that, okay? And I'll get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.